Hey friends, hope you're doing great. Let me ask you something. Have you ever felt so angry at the world, so frustrated with everything around you, that you just wanted to scream out loud? Bill Burr turned that feeling into a career, and somehow he made millions of people laugh along the way. Today's story is about Bill Burr, a bold, fearless, and brutally honest comedian who rose from a working-class life in Boston to become one of the most powerful voices in modern comedy. Get ready to laugh, learn, and be inspired by the loud, real, and unforgettable story of Bill Burr. William Frederick Burr, better known as Bill Burr, was born on June 10, 1968, in a small town near Boston, Massachusetts. His childhood was shaped by the people around him, his family, and the environment of Boston itself, a city known for its tough, straightforward people and rich history. Bill's family was a typical working-class family. His father was a dentist, and his mother was a nurse. They worked hard to provide for Bill and his siblings. Life wasn't always easy for them, but it was full of love and honesty. Bill often talks about his childhood as being loud and emotional, where arguments and disagreements were normal. But those early experiences made him who he is today. They taught him to speak his mind, to stand up for what he believed in, and to never hide his true feelings. Bill was always a bit different from other kids. While many children played quietly or followed the rules, Bill had a wild sense of humor. He loved making people laugh, even when he was young. Whether it was cracking jokes in school or teasing his family, Bill was always the one making noise. His humor was sometimes sarcastic and sometimes sharp, but it was always honest. At school, Bill was not a perfect student. He wasn't someone who loved to study or sit still for hours. Instead, he was curious and observant. He watched how people acted, how they talked, and what made them laugh or get angry. These observations would later become the material for his comedy. He learned early that people were complicated, and if you wanted to make them laugh, you had to tell the truth, even if it was uncomfortable. Growing up in Boston also meant Bill was surrounded by a city with a strong character. Boston is known for its sports teams, its history, and its passionate people. The way people talked, often loudly and with strong opinions, left a mark on Bill. It was a city where being honest was valued, even if it meant being a little rough around the edges. Bill took this attitude with him into his adult life and his comedy. After high school, Bill went to Emerson College in Boston, where he studied radio. He liked the idea of working in entertainment, but wasn't sure exactly how. Radio seemed like a good start. It was a way to talk, to reach people, and maybe be funny without being on stage. But after college, reality hit. Bill didn't jump straight into comedy or show business. Instead, he worked in warehouses, lifting heavy boxes and doing difficult manual labor. He worked long hours, and the job was tiring and boring. Yet Bill never complained openly. In his mind, this was just part of life, a step he had to take before reaching something better. During this time, Bill's mind kept turning to comedy. He loved watching comedians on TV and in clubs. He admired people like George Carlin and Richard Pryor, who spoke the truth and made people laugh about serious topics. Bill wanted to be like them someday, but he also feared failing. The thought of standing on stage and making people laugh scared him. What if no one laughed? What if he embarrassed himself? Despite his fears, Bill finally took a brave step in the early 1990s. He signed up for an open mic night at a comedy club in Boston. Open mic nights are events where anyone can come and perform a short set, usually 5 or 10 minutes. For many comedians, this is where their career begins, but it is also a place where failure happens often. The first time Bill got on stage, he was nervous. His hands shook, his voice was unsteady, and his heart raced. But then, something magical happened. People laughed. They laughed not just politely, but genuinely. That feeling of making strangers laugh was unlike anything Bill had experienced before. It gave him hope. It showed him a new path. From that moment on, Bill knew he wanted to be a comedian. He wasn't going to let fear stop him. He started practicing every day, writing jokes, and going to more open mic nights. Sometimes the crowd didn't laugh. Sometimes they even booed. But Bill kept going. Every failure was a lesson. Every bad night made him stronger. In the mid-1990s, Bill moved from Boston to New York City. The city was full of other young comedians, all chasing their dreams. Competition was fierce. The clubs were packed with talent. Bill quickly learned that to succeed, he needed to be different. He needed a voice that stood out. What made Bill stand out was his honesty and boldness. Unlike many comedians who tried to be safe or polite, Bill said what he thought, no matter how uncomfortable. He talked about topics that other comedians avoided. He challenged ideas, pointed out hypocrisies, and made fun of everyone equally, no matter their background or beliefs. This style wasn't always popular. Some people got angry at Bill's jokes. Some critics called him rude or offensive. But many fans loved his honesty. They felt like Bill was saying things they thought but were afraid to say. Bill became the voice of the frustrated, someone who didn't sugarcoat the truth. Bill's comedy often focused on real-life issues: marriage, relationships, politics, race, and even the culture of being politically correct. He could make a joke about a serious topic without making it mean-spirited. His humor was smart and sharp, but never hateful. During this time, Bill also started traveling a lot. He performed in comedy clubs across the country, slowly building a fan base. He recorded his first comedy specials, long performances filmed for TV or streaming services. These specials introduced Bill Burr to a wider audience. People saw a man who was raw, real, and unapologetically himself. In 2007, Bill started something new, a podcast called Monday Morning Podcast. At the time, podcasts were not as popular as they are today, and few comedians had their own shows. But Bill saw this as a way to connect with his fans in a more personal way. Every Monday, Bill would sit down and talk about whatever was on his mind. Sometimes he talked about comedy, sometimes about sports, sometimes about personal stories. There were no scripts, no edits, no censorship. It was just Bill, speaking freely. The podcast quickly became popular. Fans loved how honest and relatable Bill was. He talked about his life, his frustrations, and his thoughts without trying to be perfect. He was funny, yes, but also thoughtful and real. For Bill, the podcast was more than just a show. It was a therapy session. It helped him deal with his anger and frustration. It gave him a platform to share his ideas and connect with people around the world. The success of the podcast helped Bill's career in many ways. It increased his popularity, gave him new fans, and showed Hollywood that he had a unique voice. The podcast became a central part of Bill Burr's work and remains popular to this day. In 2013, Bill Burr married Nia Renee Hill, an actress, writer, and producer. Their relationship added a new chapter to Bill's life and career. For many years, Bill's comedy often focused on his frustrations with women, relationships, and marriage. But after marrying Nia, his perspective changed. Bill started to talk about marriage in a different way, not just as a source of frustration, but as a source of love and growth. He often shares stories about his wife on his podcast, showing a softer, more vulnerable side. Nia even appears on the podcast sometimes, and their conversations reveal a strong, loving partnership filled with honesty and humor. In 2017, Bill and Nia had a daughter. Becoming a father deeply affected Bill. He often says that having a child changed his life in ways he never expected. Suddenly, the loud, angry comedian had a new reason to be responsible and kind. Fatherhood made Bill more thoughtful. It didn't take away his edge or humor, but it added warmth to his voice. When he talks about his daughter, you can hear the love and pride. This new chapter in his life made Bill's comedy richer and more relatable for many fans. Bill Burr's talents aren't limited to stand-up comedy and podcasting. He is also a skilled actor. Early in his career, Bill landed a memorable role in the hit TV show Breaking Bad, where he played Patrick Kuby, a clever and sometimes dangerous character who worked for the show's main villain, Saul Goodman. Fans loved seeing Bill on screen. His natural delivery and sharp humor made his character stand out. It showed that Bill could do more than just stand on stage. He could bring characters to life in movies and TV shows. Bill's acting career continued to grow. He took roles in comedies, dramas, and even big franchises. One of his most famous roles was in The Mandalorian, a Star Wars series that became a worldwide hit. Bill's character was funny, tough, and memorable, introducing him to an even larger audience. Acting allowed Bill to show a new side of himself. It also gave him the chance to work with some of the best people in the entertainment industry. Despite his success on screen, Bill never stopped doing stand-up or podcasting. He balanced all parts of his career with dedication and passion. In 2020, Bill Burr hosted the legendary TV show Saturday Night Live, SNL. This was a huge moment for him. SNL is one of the most famous comedy shows in America, and hosting it is an honor that few comedians get. Bill's monologue, his opening speech on the show, was unforgettable. He spoke honestly about politics, culture, and the way people argue online. His words were bold and unfiltered. Some viewers were shocked by his bluntness, but many praised him for speaking the truth with humor. Hosting SNL showed the world just how important Bill Burr had become in comedy. He was no longer just a stand-up comedian or a podcast host. He was a major voice in American culture. Bill used this platform to stay true to himself, refusing to soften his opinions just to please everyone. One of Bill Burr's most personal projects is the animated show F is for Family, which he created and starred in. The show aired from 2015 to 2021 and was loosely based on Bill's own childhood and family life. The main character, Frank Murphy, is a loud, angry father trying to raise his family in the 1970s. The show doesn't shy away from difficult topics. Anger, fear, failure, and love all play a part. It's funny, yes, but it also has deep emotional moments. Through F is for Family, Bill told stories that were close to his heart. He showed what it was like growing up in a tough household, dealing with parents who were flawed but loving. The show became a way for Bill to share his own experiences with a wide audience, showing that even anger and frustration come from a place of love. The show was praised for its honesty and humor. It helped many people understand the challenges of family life and the importance of forgiveness and growth. Bill Burr's story is more than just about making people laugh. It's about courage and honesty. It's about never giving up on your dreams, no matter how hard the journey. Bill shows us that being yourself is the most important thing. He didn't change who he was to fit in. Instead, he found success by being bold, speaking his truth, and working hard. Young people can learn from Bill's perseverance. He didn't become famous overnight. He faced rejection, failure, and doubt many times. But he kept going. He learned from his mistakes and improved. That kind of determination is inspiring. Bill also teaches us to be honest with ourselves and others. It's okay to have flaws. It's okay to feel angry or frustrated. What matters is how we handle those feelings. Bill turned his anger into comedy, his struggles into stories, and his pain into laughter. Finally, Bill reminds us that life is complicated. We will make mistakes, argue with loved ones, and face challenges. But through it all, love and honesty can guide us. Today, Bill Burr is one of the most respected and loved comedians in the world. He sells out arenas, stars in movies and TV shows, and has millions of fans worldwide. But he hasn't lost what makes him special: his honesty, his courage, and his willingness to speak the truth, even when it's difficult. Bill Burr's story is about finding your voice and using it fearlessly. It's about laughing at life's challenges and learning from them. It's about being bold enough to stand out, kind enough to laugh at yourself, and strong enough to keep moving forward.